Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Welcome to the soul of Sunday. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a historic faith with a progressive theology. We affirm the worth and dignity of every being, and that we are all deeply interconnected. We are bound to one another not by creed, but by covenant. And we are called to answer the call of love with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Whoever you are, those of all nations, all creeds, all colors, all kinds of love, you are welcome here. As we gather, we acknowledge that Arlington Street Church occupies the ancestral homeland of the Massachusetts. By making this land acknowledgement, we recognize, honor, and affirm the sovereignty of all First Nations peoples.
Today, as we mark the fourth Sunday in Advent, we light this candle for love with two vignettes from American writer Anne Lamott. My friend Caroline found a frog in her shower. So she picked it up and carried it in cupped hands to the wet grass outside. The frog was leaping in terror against her hands and probably did not understand the comforting words she spoke to it along the way. I think this is one of the best examples of how love operates when we are most afraid and doomed, carrying us to a safer place while we pound against its cupped hands. What I know is that while love doesn't always look all that lovely, it is our only hope. I tell my Sunday school kids what a priest told Bill Wilson, the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. Sometimes I think that heaven is a new pair of glasses. We imagine putting on these better glasses to look around for random love. The people across the courtyard packing up delicious donated fare for our community food pantry. Neighbors who wave to the kids across the street. The garden that some of the men in our church grew for us. A nest in the Japanese maple. Each other. And just as we're returning to our classroom, the food pantry people bring the kids some donated cupcakes with sprinkles. Sprinkles? I rest my case. Love is such a show-off.
Dear ones, welcome. Welcome to our Zoomers. Welcome to the congregation gathered in person, and happy Christmas Eve morning. What a joy today to welcome our beloved Kellyanne Weaver's parents. Friends, wave at me. That's Kathleen and Albert from Brewster. That's Brewster, Massachusetts, and their dear friends, Lucas from New York City, and Lucas's parents, Mary and Warren from Harwich, Massachusetts. We're so glad you're here, friends. Welcome. Thank you to Director of Music Mark David Buckles and Joanna Lubkin for Wednesday evening's wonderful 17th annual Carol Sing. Mark David, I also want to thank you for all your devoted preparations for today. It's epic, and it's going to be epic. Thank you, dear. Thank you also to our professional musicians and today's volunteers, greeters, ushers, the tech team, worship team, the Arlington Street Church Choir. Everyone is working a split shift today. We are all deeply grateful to you. Our student minister is sick. She may be in the Zoom room this morning. Good morning, Kel. I'm sorry you're not well. This is the beauty of Zoom. Friends, the sanctuary is mask optional. I invite you to find your comfort level, and masks are available from the ushers. For those of you who are new to Arlington Street, a very special welcome to you. We are keeping a Christmas Eve guest book. For those of you here in person, I'm hoping there are special green guest book cards in the pew racks today. You can drop yours into the collection plate or hand it to Reverend Beth or me as we leave. And for those of you in the Zoom room, please sign our virtual guest book. The link is in the chat. Whether you've been coming here for years or today is your first time at Arlington Street, welcome home.
Good morning, friends. Happy Christmas Eve. If you're here in person, there are printed copies of the order of service available from the ushers at the great doors. If you're on Zoom, the order of service will appear in the chat, and you can download it at ascboston.org. As we begin our greetings, I invite the Zoomers and those with a device handy to please say hello in the chat and tell us where you're Zooming in from today. And now Rich is going to turn the camera on the in-person congregation as we wave at each other as well as at our friends in the Zoom room. And all of you in the Zoom room can wave and smile back. Hello, friends. Let's all engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart. Our opening carol is The First Noel. The words for this and all the many carols we'll sing this morning are in the order of service and in the chat. We'll be led by Alicia Batson. Let's rise now in body, rise in spirit, and sing together The First Noel. It is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. These candles were submitted on our website by the Friday evening deadline. If you didn't submit your candle and have a joy or a sorrow to share this morning, please wait until the third candle is lit, the silent candle, and then type your joy or sorrow into the chat. Zoomers are invited to light silent candles at home. Those in the sanctuary are invited to light a silent candle at the table up front to the right of the Gleason podium. In addition to sharing our sorrows and joys this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious this beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. And now, in the spirit of invocation, let's join in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
Some of us come today with heavy hearts. We open our hearts to you.
A candle of sorrow from Art Judge. For Dr. Chuck Heisinger, my friend and medical partner for more than 30 years, who died this past Saturday. Chuck Presente. Our final candle of sorrow is from Vicki Henry and her family. A candle of concern for my Uncle David, whose dog died yesterday. Skippy was the center of his life. Please keep him in your heart as he and our family work through this tremendous loss. We love you, Uncle David.
And some of us come today in joy. We share your joy.
A candle of joy from Queen Cheryl. Today marks my 17th Christmas Eve here at Arlington Street. Thank you for taking me in and making me part of a healthy family that loves me. I am forever grateful. Our final candle is a candle of hope that the promise of this season might finally be realized. May there be peace in our hearts and peace on earth.
Love
For all the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, and for the world. Amen.
Let's join now in saying together the affirmation and covenant of this beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another.
El amor es el espíritu de nuestra congregación y el servicio es nuestro regalo. Esto es a lo que nos comprometemos, convivir en paz, hablar nuestras verdades con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Marley was dead. Old Marley was dead as a doornail. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name, however. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, was Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. No warmth could warm, no cold could chill him. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, upon a Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting, foggy weather, and the city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was dark already. The door of Scrooge's counting house was open that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, Bob Cratchit, who in a dismal little cell beyond was copying letters. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you," cried a cheerful voice. Scrooge's nephew was at the door. "Bah," said Scrooge. "Humbug." "Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do. Out upon Merry Christmas. If I had my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. Much good it has ever done you." "Uncle, I am sure I have always thought of Christmas time, apart from the veneration due to its sacred origin, if anything belonging to it can be apart from that, as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time, the only time I know of in the long calendar of the year, when people seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of others as if they really were fellow travelers to the grave. I believe that Christmas has done me good and will do me good, and I say, God bless it, and dine with us tomorrow." "Good afternoon," said Scrooge sharply, and his nephew left without an angry word, notwithstanding. Bob Cratchit, in letting Scrooge's nephew out, let 2 other people in. "At this festive season of the year, Mr. Scrooge," sent a gentleman, "a few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. We choose this time because it is a time of all others when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for?" Nothing. At length, the hour of shutting up the counting house arrived. Scrooge walked out with a growl and went home. And there, having his key in the lock of the door, he saw in the knocker, not a knocker, but Marley's face, with a dismal light about it like a bad lobster in a dark cellar. Unfazed, Scrooge unfastened the door and went up, not caring a button for it being very dark. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge liked it. He took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown and slippers and his nightcap, and sat down before the very low fire to take his gruel. Suddenly, there was a clanking noise as if someone were dragging a heavy chain on the floors below, then coming up the stairs, then coming straight towards his door. It came on through the heavy door, and a specter passed into the room before his eyes. It was Marley, Marley's ghost. "How now," said Scrooge, caustic and cold as ever. "What do you want with me?" "Much." Marley's voice, no doubt about it. "Mercy, dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me?" "Oh, ignorant man, not to know that any good person working kindly in his little sphere, whatever it may be, will find his mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life's opportunities missed." "But you were always a good man of business, Marley," faltered Scrooge, who was beginning to apply this to himself. "Business," cried the ghost, wringing its hands. "Humankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence were all my business." The apparition walked backward from him, and at every step it took, the window raised itself a little so that when the specter reached it, it was wide open. It beckoned Scrooge to approach, which he did. The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains, like Marley's ghost. Many had been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. He had been quite familiar with one old ghost in a white waistcoat with a monstrous iron safe attached to its ankle, who cried piteously at being unable to assist a wretched woman with an infant whom it saw below in a doorstep. The misery with them was all clearly that they sought to interfere for good in human matters and had lost the power forever. "Hear me," said Marley's ghost. "I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping this fate. You will be haunted by 3 spirits. For your own sake, remember what has passed between us."
Our next carol is O Little Town of Bethlehem, and will be led by Beck Zer. Let's rise now in body, rise in spirit, and join in singing together, O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Scrooge is indeed haunted by three spirits. The first spirit is the ghost of Christmas past. "This is for your welfare," he tells Scrooge. "Rise and walk with me." Among many scenes, the ghost shows him the warehouse where Scrooge had apprenticed under kindly Mr. Fezziwig. On Christmas Eve, the shop is closed early and the floor is cleared for music and dancing, games, and a great feast for the Fezziwig's family and staff, some 40 people in all. At the close of an enchanted evening, Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig stand on either side of the door and shake hands with every guest, wishing them a Merry Christmas. "A small matter," says the ghost, looking on, "to make these folks so full of gratitude. Fezziwig has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money. Is that so much?" "It isn't that," says Scrooge. "The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost a fortune." The ghost also shows him the sad scene in which Scrooge's betrothed breaks off their engagement. The young woman has realized that as miserly as Scrooge has become, he will only resent and regret a marriage to a girl without a dowry. "Another idol has displaced me," she tells him, "a golden one. You fear the world too much. I have seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion, gain, engrosses you." Scrooge is devastated to relive this memory. "Spirit, remove me from this place." The ghost of Christmas past leaves him to sink into a heavy sleep. The second spirit is the ghost of Christmas present. Among many scenes, the ghost shows Scrooge Bob Cratchit's home. The Cratchits are very poor, though delighting in each other and especially in their youngest, Tiny Tim. Bob and Tiny Tim have just returned from church, where Tiny Tim says he hopes the people saw him because he cannot walk, and it might be pleasant for them to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. They share a spare meal and invoke a blessing on everyone, including Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge asks the ghost of Christmas present if Tiny Tim will live. He replies, "If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die." The ghost also shows him his nephew's holiday party, where Scrooge's family is laughing, making music, and playing games. "He says that Christmas is a humbug," cries Scrooge's nephew. "He's a comical old fellow, that's the truth, and not so pleasant. However, his offenses carry their own punishment. Who suffers by his ill whims? Himself, always. He won't come and dine with us. What's the consequence?" "He loses a very good dinner," answers Scrooge's niece. Uncle Scrooge has much to ponder in these scenes, but the ghost of Christmas present fades away, and there is a solemn phantom draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground toward him, the last of the spirits. "Am I in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come?" asks Scrooge. "Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I have seen. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear you company and do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me?" The ghost gave him no reply, but took Scrooge to the Cratchits' home. Tiny Tim is dead. They also visit a lonely, painful deathbed, though Scrooge cannot fathom whose it is. It is his. Finally, the ghost leads Scrooge to the graveyard, to a neglected grave with his name on the stone. Am I that man who lay upon the bed? No, spirit, oh no, no. Spirit, hear me, I am not the man I was. Assure me that by an altered life, I yet may change these shadows you have shown me. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, tell me that I may sponge away the writing on this stone.
Our next carol is Angels We Have Heard on High, and will be led by Andrew Stack. Let's rise now in body, rise in spirit, join and singing together. Angels we have heard on high.
The spirit fades away. Scrooge awakens in his bed. I will live in the past, the present and the future, Scrooge repeats as he scrambles out of bed. The spirits of all three shall strive in me. To his great delight, he learns that it is indeed Christmas morning. Anonymously, straight away, he sends a turkey twice as big as Tiny Tim to the Cratchit family. He dresses in his finest clothes and walks out into the street, greeting everyone with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant that 3 or 4 good-humored fellows said, "Good morning, sir, Merry Christmas to you." And Scrooge said often afterwards that of all the blithe sounds he had ever heard, those were the blithest in his ears. He had not gone far when, coming toward him, he beheld the men who had come collecting for the poor the day before. It sent a pang across his heart to think how these gentlemen would look upon him when they met, but he knew what path lay straight before him, and he took it. "My dear sirs," said Scrooge, "I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you." The gentleman's bewilderment gave way to astonishment as Scrooge leans in to whisper, "My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious?" "If you please," said Scrooge, "not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favor?" "We will," cried the gentleman. "Thank you," said Scrooge. "I am much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. Bless you." In the afternoon, he turned his steps toward his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock. He was welcomed with open arms and enjoyed a wonderful party. The next morning, he was early at the office. "A Merry Christmas, Bob," said Scrooge, with an earnestness that could not be mistaken as he clapped Bob Cratchit on the back. "A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl." Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die young, he was a second father. He became as good a man as the good old city knew. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but his own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further interactions with spirits, but it was always said of him that Scrooge knew how to keep Christmas well. May that be truly said of us and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. Are we singing?
Our next carol is I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. Please rise as you're willing and able and join in singing I Heard the Bells.
There is no improving on Dickens. And so, my beloved spiritual companions, just this then, the heart of it. To Christmas, we bring the past, all that we have been. But here too begins the future, yours and mine and ours. May we embrace and celebrate this precious gift we have been given and welcome Christmas as Christmas welcomed Scrooge to life. Together, let us unwrap this wonderful gift, the gift of Christmas present. May it be said of us that we too know how to keep Christmas well. God bless us, everyone. Amen.
And let's sing together our carol, Go Tell It on the Mountain, number 239. I invite you to rise in body and spirit if you aren't already. 1, 2, 1, 2. Go tell it. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept on watching for silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed the baby's birth. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lowly manger, the humble babe was born, and God sent us salvation that blessed Christmas morn. Oh, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. One more time. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
Friends, we are so lucky to share this beautiful building with partners in our mission who are amplifying arts, culture, and service, and helping us realize the dream of making Arlington Street a true community center. Today, we have a special opportunity to support an expensive, unbudgeted project. This week, welders installed what John Anderson Miller, the chair of our restoration committee, calls sexy new handrails in the stairwell outside the parish hall. They are part of a safety infrastructure project with a price tag of $53,161.28. Also on the list are illuminated exit signs, emergency lighting, and push bars on all of the doors. Not surprisingly, as we began the project, we discovered that the whole parish hall had to be rewired to accommodate these safety upgrades. This is the curse that comes with the blessing of stewarding a 162-year-old building. But we are committed to creating a space that is both safe and welcoming to all. Reverend Kim and I are both giving special gifts of $500 to the Christmas offering. We have been joined by members of our governing board and their families, Alan, Bob, Kathy, Kellyanne, Kevin and Michael, Laura, Liz and Dawn, Rachel, Sandy and Tracy, and Tom and Bruce. Please join us. You can give online at ascboston.org or check the order of service for instructions on how to give via QR code, Venmo, or text message. If you're Zooming, you can mail a check to the church. If you're here in person, please use the envelopes in the pews. The ushers will be coming through the sanctuary with collection plates momentarily. Thank you for your generosity.
Our offertory song is from the great musical Spirited, which is a farce on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And this song, which is one of my favorites, Unredeemable, is sung by Scrooge. And although, in the story, everyone welcomes Scrooge with open arms, it doesn't really ask the question, how does he come to terms with himself after all of the wrongs that he's done? And how can we come to terms with the mistakes we've made in life? Am I forever unredeemable? Can I ever overcome all the wrongs I'm running from? Can my worst be left behind? And do I deserve to find there's a soul who could see any good in me? Or will I only ever be unredeemable? Spent every waking minute taking all that I could take. Never stopped to reckon with the ruin in my wake. With all the bridges that I burned, the wounds I didn't mend, all the worth I thought I'd earned, it turned worthless in the end. What was it for? Well, is it possible I've meant for something more? Am I forever unredeemable? Can I be a man who breaks from a lifetime of mistakes? Can my worst be left behind? And do I deserve to find a kind of love that I can lean on every day? Or will I learn I have to stay unredeemable? Unredeemable. For all they've done, or is all I am unlovable?
Wow, wow. Thank you to the Arlington Street Choir, to Young Jew, and to Mark David. This evening is our Christmas Eve candlelighting service. At 7 and 9, we'll be joined by the Boston Gay Men's Chorus. There will be caroling, Reverend Kim will preach, and we'll all light our candles and hold them high for peace. Zoomers, if possible, you'll want to have a candle handy and be prepared to darken your room to create that beautiful ambiance in the Zoom room. Tomorrow, because it's Christmas Day, the usual Monday gatherings in the Arlington Street Zoom room for loving kindness meditation and poetry will not be meeting. This Wednesday at 4, our student minister, Kel Alford, will be hosting our weekly tea party in the ASC Zoom room. This week's conversation prompt is, what's something you do that makes you feel healthy and happy? Think body, mind, and soul. There is no choir rehearsal this week, as the choir will be taking its well-deserved long winter's nap. Enjoy. You can always check ascboston.org for the latest on what's happening in the Zoom room and in the building. Following this morning's service, everyone is welcome to join the virtual coffee hour. If you'd like to participate, please answer yes to the breakout invitation that will appear on your screen. If you're here in person, you're invited to our live chat coffee hour, the in-person version of what our Zoomers create with so much care and connection in the Zoom chat each week. We'll gather in the Honeywell Chapel right through the leather door to the right of the pulpit. Rumor has it that Reverend Kim's done a little baking. After the service, Reverend Kim and I will be at the end of the center aisle and will eventually make our way to the Honeywell Chapel. Thanks to all of you who joined in today's service and all of those who made it possible. Remember, we are all in this together. Merry Christmas. I love you. Our next carol is Joy to the World, and will be led by Alicia Batson. Let's rise now in body, rise in spirit, and sing Joy to the World.
Before our benediction, I invite those of you in the Zoom room to please reach out your hands and touch the sides of your square. And those of you in the sanctuary to please raise your hands, palms out, and let us send loving kindness. To the people to your left, the people to your right, send loving kindness to the person on either side of you, to the people on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. Love is the spirit of this congregation. And now for our benediction, I invite you to put your hands over your heart in namaste. I bow to the divine in you. This is from British American poet W.H. Auden. He said, "And now let Christmas overtake us in all our haste and unpreparedness, and renew the miracle of love once again in our hearts. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Bless your hearts. I love you. Merry Christmas. Amen."
Good tidings, Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.